welcome into the Week 11 edition of Money Talks. I'm Jason Mezrahi from the Sharp app, of course, and I got our legendary sports executive, David Meltzer, who's back at home. He's been traveling the world all over the place right now, but David's back at home. And we're going to be breaking down some Week 11 games for you, your sports betting games. We got 5 games on the slate. Dave, I don't know if you heard about it. I live in New York, and I love a good trash talk. Every time I played sports, I was out there trash talking. But to see coaches go at each other and Rex Ryan kind of throw Robert Saleh under the bus and say, how can you compare me to Robert Saleh? We're both defensive-minded coaches. And now in New York radio, they're going back and forth. Francesca, Keyshawn Johnson. And it's a big saga right now. But on top of all that, Joe Flacco is getting a start in front of the two young guys, and the Jets are, dogs at home against the Dolphins. And I was talking to Statsational earlier today, and he likes the Jets at home, and he's backing Joe Flacco. With all this controversy, what do you think happens with these Jets? Do you think they bounce back here and use all this bulletin board material to go out there and win a game, or at least cover this game?
It's Flacco, man. I tell you, I like the Jets as well. This is a trap game for the Dolphins at home. The Jets are better than the record appears to be. But more importantly, when you have a seasoned veteran, a Super Bowl champion quarterback that is completely rested, I don't care how old he is, everybody got one great game in him. And I will tell you that he is far better than those two young guys when he is healthy, rested, and ready. Now, game 2, I'm going against Flacco, but in his opener here, I think take the 3.5, and the Jets are a better pick. I do want to mention with the Rex Ryan deal, because one of the things that I have utilized as an agent, as a marketer, and as a thought leader or whatever self-development branded person, ego. Some of these issues simply could be resolved by bringing no energy to stupid statements. The people will never learn to, and I tried to, suggest this to Roger Goodell when it came to Barstool Sports and my boy Portnoy. He's the master of having people give him energy for doing messed up stuff. And when Rex Ryan throws out a lob at you, you don't give it any energy, and you don't have some passive aggressive comment about, where I am, not when your team is sucking like it is, and that more and more people will just give you attention, awareness, and energy. You have to learn about edging goodness out of your life, the EGO, when somebody provokes the need to fight, flee, feed, or fornicate. Instead of resisting it, fighting it, going over and under it and through it, simply stop. Breathe. Are you listening to me? Breathe, Jets coaches. Breathe, Jets ownership, and roll in the right trajectory. Talk about the positive attributes, the improvements, and the progress that your team's making, and your belief in them. Start saying, believing, and doing all the right things. And I will tell you, despite the EGO problem with the Jets, I think that Flacco is the cure, the healer. He's going to go off, and I think plus 3.5 is maybe my bet for the week, the upset of the week. I may even take a money line, parlay it with a few other games, and really make some money.
I think the only way the Jets kind of get back on track is maybe if your boy Gary Vee goes out there and buys that team, because as a Met fan, as a Jet fan, it's just been a lot of bad. Like, they just do everything wrong, get everything with draft picks wrong, ownership, management. They're really struggling all around. But let's move to a team that Philly itself, I don't know what they make of Jalen Hurts. I don't know if they like him, they don't like him. It's kind of 50-50, but we like the Saints, and a little shocking of a Putz stew on the road against the Eagles. But I think this defense steps up. I think Alvin Kamara comes back and rights the ship here, with Simeon and Taysom Hill is there. So it's more of game managing, ground and pound, and kind of set the Eagles, back on a losing streak here, because they're not that good of a team still. They're still really, really young here. I know you're a fan of the Saints and Sean Payton. So what do you think happens here with Taysom Hill, the combination him and Simeon and Kamara back? Do they go on the road and beat the Eagles?
Yeah, they do, and it's mostly Kamara because he changes the clock. He controls the game through the clock because he's able to move the ball and get the first downs. Third and short, short and goal. That's where we win ball games, and you can't do it without Kamara. So the point spread is indicative of the historical performance without Kamara, and people just don't give it the credit of the clock management, clock control, and the critical down component that Kamara brings to the game.
Yeah, so let's move on to another quarterback who's going on the road here. The Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, going against Justin Fields, and this Bears offense really struggled to score points, move the ball, take advantage of Allen Robinson and the weapons they actually have. Justin Fields, kind of a struggle all around. He's not ready to play in the NFL, but the Ravens have been up and down here. But we think the Ravens right their ship -5 on the road. Can you get behind Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team that needs to start winning games because they're not looking just to make the playoffs. They're looking to carry some momentum and make a splash once the playoffs come around.
Well, as much as the Lions are the best, worst team I've ever seen, the
Bears are
Ravens
pretty close.
the Ravens may be the worst best team I've ever seen.
For sure.
So it makes it really difficult to have any certainty on this game. This is one that I would have liked to stay away from. And the reason is that I've seen, like my own Los Angeles Chargers, the Ravens look unbeatable. And I think we've seen that in several teams this year. And I know last week we talked about, about it's about these 4 games. Everyone's going to tell you the Rams are unbeatable. It depends on what they do the 4 games. And then the real Matthew Stafford shows up. Or,
Crazy.
So
Crazy.
here, I don't think the Ravens defense is that good. I think that there's very subtle differences between the skill set and talent between even the Lions and the Ravens. And it's just the coaching and the will and the knowledge. I actually, if I had to, I don't like to go against, but this is one that I'll look like a genius by going against you guys. And I'll go ahead and take the 5 points and trust my Buckeye, Justin Fields, to come through and turn that offense on.
I'll take that bet. You already owe me a Super Bowl ticket, but I'm gonna have to bring a friend with me, and I'm gonna take the Ravens. Yeah,
I don't know how we
Lamar.
got upgraded to a Super Bowl ticket from a skateboard, but okay, I'm on. Okay.
So you got a chance to win another ticket here, but a team that you just spoke about, the I think you put it the best worst team around, and there's a lot of bad good teams, however you want to put it. I think it's the Browns are similar to the Ravens. They look good one day and they look terrible the next day. But these Lions, 11 points is a ton of points right now. I don't believe in the Browns. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield. Never have, never will. I like the Lions here at +11 on the road against the Browns. They haven't played so great the last couple games out, the Lions, but either have the Browns. I think 11 is too many points. I know you're a Cleveland man at heart, but can you take the 11 points here and go against the Lions, who you think are a pretty good team outside of the record?
Absolutely, I want the Lions. Either after what I said, are you kidding? I'm talking about one of the best worst teams ever in football. This team has look what they did last week. I mean, they did everything they could to lose the game, and they still tied the Steelers. So I'm telling you, 11 points is way too many. The Browns, who I love, are not that much better than the Lions. The Lions are a lot tougher, and the Browns are not that good. The Browns are a better team. This is not one that I take the money line on, but it is one that I'm taking the points, putting it into by parlay with the money line with the Jets. Now, if I get 1 or 2 more picks, I'm going to make some real money this week.
Yeah, one of our Sirius XM producers, while we're doing the live show this past Saturday, took all of our college plays or a solid amount of our college plays. He did a 9-team parlay, Dave. 9-team parlay, and San Diego State came through on the last leg late, and he had to sweat it out. He put up like 25 to like $30 to win 3,500. So big shout out to Mike who took it down. It was pretty cool. We kind of sweated it out live on air on Saturday night. Last game, and I want you to touch on 2 points on this thing. The Bucs look so good, and now they look kind of bad, and they lost to the Washington football team that looked bad. How does this happen in the NFL? Because we like the Bucs at -11 at home in a bounce back spot against the Giants. A lot of points, but Brady has to come back strong here. He really does. But how does it happen? Like every Sunday, or at least the most recent couple of Sundays, I'm sitting there watching these games and like, how does this team look so good? Like you mentioned Stafford and the Rams. They've gotten better in trades and their team has gotten worse. And they played worse teams and they haven't showed up. And Stafford's like airmailing everybody. And it's not just, Stafford and the Rams. It's Brady and the Bucs. How do you lose to the Washington football team? And then it's just there's so many games that have been going the opposite way that the public thinks. And finally, over all these years, I finally realized, I was saying it the other day, what it's like to be on the sharp side versus the public side. And I kind of have a real bad analogy. It's not the nicest of analogies, but I'll share it with you. Like my guy Steve, who's been supplying us with so many winning picks, he's like, Jay, and we've been talking, we're good friends. Like, there is so many, let's use a nice word, dumb people in the world. And if you're on the side, you walk through it. If you're on that side, that's the wrong side to be on. And that happens to be the public side. So, like, breaking it down like that when you're walking through and you see all these weird things happen through your everyday lives, like, oh, that's what it really means to be on the public side. These are the people who are just not educated and on the sharp side here. What do you think is really happening in these NFL games where the public is always on the wrong side and these wacky outcomes keep on happening in the NFL?
It's about matchups. And I think we are discounting the amount of technology that we have to examine data about individual matchups. In the game of football, if you can isolate a matchup and get an open receiver, for example, it could be a difference of a lot of points. And so a lot of times, the teams that may not have overall talent and overall record may have identified certain matchups that are game-changing plays. And all it takes is one or two game-changing plays plus a turnover. When the biggest upsets that we're looking at are plus or minus 11, right? That means it takes literally two big plays or a turnover and a big play. Turnovers are just a matter sometimes of luck because you don't know which way the ball's going to bounce and what's going to happen. We saw that, of course, in the Steeler game as well, right? A couple inches one way or another. But the matchups are something that you can prepare for, something that you can take advantage of when you need that score. And it doesn't take much to take a team that's supposed to win by a lot and all of a sudden have them lose or even lose by a lot. And what happens as well is the team that thinks they have this game may not be as well prepared. A couple of those mismatched plays and a turnover, all of a sudden the momentum drains from them and they start pressing. And a team that hasn't had to press all of a sudden folds and you start overthrowing. We saw that. My favorite example was Cam Newton in his perfect season when he was the MVP, but they lost the Super Bowl. He was unstoppable until he pressed. And I saw the very first play of the Super Bowl that year and said, oh, Carolina's going to lose. Cam's pressing. And he wasn't the same Cam Newton in that game. And it got worse and worse as it got more challenging. This is why you'll see these huge upsets, is because technology allows us to have the data to get a couple extra matchups that a lesser team can take advantage of if they're well prepared.
So I kind of get that point. You see, like what the Dolphins did to Lamar. They just blitzed him and blitzed him and blitzed him, so he wasn't able to run and figure things out. After all these years, I don't know how many years it is anymore. With Brady being out there, have they finally figured Brady out? It's like, how did the Washington football team just stick it to him last week and figure him out, and then potentially, like, we like the Bucs at minus 11 this week against the Giants. What is it, the Giants, they don't have the talent to go ahead and figure Brady out? He's got tape for years, data for years.
No, but you need one matchup on the line, a defensive end coming across the left tackle, just having that heat early on that makes Brady. And look, we've disrupted Peyton Manning, we've disrupted Tom Brady, Drew Brees, all have had games where they're disrupted. You can't get into that flow. And a couple matchups on that line or a linebacker, a couple stunts that he may not have prepared for, or historically, some players have played against him for so long, made no tendency. So it does happen. But look, on average, you're not going to get to Tom Brady more than a game, and so he's going to come back. He's going to be extra sharp, no pun intended, and he's going to perform at his normal level. And so I'm taking, the Bucs. I'll give up 11, 12, 13, even 14 because I don't think Tom Brady, you can do that to him twice in a row.
Last question. I kind of ask you this question every single time we're on the show. A lot of teams have been shaken up over the last couple of weeks now. The AFC looks wide open. The NFC looks kind of tight with a couple really really good teams here. Patrick Mahomes, we found out last week he's still actually good at football. Same thing with Travis Kelce. He can catch, he can run. They are a good team. They are now plus 500. The Bills are favorites to come out of the East. The Titans slid into the number 2 spot. Your Chargers, number 6, and the Patriots. The Patriots are tied with the Chargers to come out of the AFC at plus 1,000. In the NFC, the Bucs are plus 330. Cowboys creeping up plus 400. Packers plus 400. Rams slid down to plus 450. Still, nobody's giving the Cardinals any respect at plus 500. Where do you see this Super Bowl landing right now? If you had to throw down a couple of dollars, some couch change. It's wide open right now because no team has looked invincible after these past couple of weeks, and these are the dog days. We're getting into these winter games. You have some injuries hitting some teams. Where do you see this landing right now?
Well, first of all, there's no way there's a top running team this year, right? There's no one that doesn't have Achilles heel and or tendon. So I like Green Bay at this time. But for Aaron being out one game in an opener that he was horrible in.
Yep.
I think the Packers are the best team consistently, and they are. And Aaron Rodgers still may be the best quarterback in football. I watched him. He's incredibly smart, accurate, and still has great arm strength. So, and he has something to prove, by the way, this season. So I still have my money on the Packers to win it all in the NFC. The AFC, I'm not bought in on the Chiefs. Look, they're starting to use Kelce more, but look, they play those safeties deep. If you have some speed underneath, Tyreek and Kelce can't do what they do, which makes it really easy on Mahomes. Because on third down or fourth down, he always has someone open. If he doesn't have someone open, it's proven he's not that good. When the guys are open, he's going to hit them. He has great elusiveness, right? But he's not good when nobody's open. And where that's what I think Justin Herbert does really well. He can thread the needle like an Elway, like a Steve Young. So, but on the AFC, boy, it's so tough because who can you pick? You don't know. I almost want to just pick with my heart and say the Los Angeles Chargers, but I don't think they have it. Bosa's out with COVID as well. So I think in the AFC, you may have to stick to Baltimore. If the best Baltimore shows up, they're really tough to beat. If the one that shows up against the Lions that had to win with a 66-yard field goal or got destroyed, who knows? The AFC, I just think the only team I feel confident in saying is the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the Bills are the best team right now. They're the most balanced in the AFC, but not by much. I don't see Lamar in the playoffs figuring things out because he doesn't have that number 1 receiver yet. The organization hasn't gifted him that. But David, I appreciate you coming by, spending some time with us, dropping some knowledge, and just give him a follow at David Meltzer. He's doing a lot of great things. Got a Bloomberg TV show. David, tell us what else is going on before we head out of here.
We still got the Playbook podcast I just did Joe Dispenza and incredible guests. We got 2 TV shows, Office Hours, 2-Minute Drill, and I'm going to be announcing a huge streaming deal, and we're going to put this Money Talks Sharp show on my new TV deal. So we're going to be streaming this on the big time. So use your big screen. You'll be checking us out soon. Thanks so much.
Glad to hear that. Everybody have a profitable and positive week 11. We'll be back next week with more of the Money Talk Show. We'll see you guys later.